Alright boys, welcome back to another video. Knicks Daily here. We finally got some news to talk about. Of course, the draft is next week. I do expect the Knicks to get very creative. We've got the 24th and the 25th overall pick. Whether or not the Knicks stand pat and pick two players, they trade one of those picks, they trade both and move up. Who knows? I think the Knicks are going to get extremely creative. But in this one, I want to talk about Mitchell Robinson. Now, before this report even came out about the Knicks shopping him, I did actually want him traded. The thing with Mitch is that he has the potential to be one of the best centers in the league because of his size, speed, athleticism, agility. Offensively, he can attack the boards as well, if not better than anyone else in the league. I just don't trust Mitch consistently, whether that be to stay healthy or to stay focused. And like I say all the time, man, I never would tell him what to do. I mean, he's a grown man, it's his life. But I feel like if Mitch just stayed off of social media 24/7, right, and just was in the gym working and improving, again, he could be one of the best centers. He could be the type of guy that could be truly a Joel Embiid stopper. I mean, there hasn't really been anyone to ever be able to stop Embiid. I guess like Al Horford, there really hasn't been many players. I mean, the dude's amazing, but Mitch in the playoffs, we saw legit was a problem for Embiid, and then Mitch got injured, right? He got injured at the beginning of the season and missed a ton of time. So I think it's in the Knicks' best interest to go ahead and to move on from Mitchell Robinson. I'm not exactly sure what we would end up doing. Kyle Kuzma would be my ideal target. If we can somehow potentially move Mitchell Robinson and a first-round pick for Kyle Kuzma, I would do that any single day of the week. I mean, we're talking about a guy who averaged 22.2 points per game on 46% shooting from the field and 34% from beyond the arc. This is a guy who was the #1 option on a team, a bad Wizards team, don't get me wrong. But you add in a guy who was a third option on a championship Lakers team in the bubble, a guy who was just the #1 option. He comes to the Knicks and he's going to be playing with guys like Dante DiVincenzo and Jalen Brunson and OG Anunoby, hopefully Isaiah Hartenstein, about to get into him. So, the Knicks would have a special team, and they would be significantly better, in my opinion, with Kyle Kuzma than they would be with Mitchell Robinson. And the thing with Hartenstein is he is expected to remain a Knick. So Ian Begley of SNY said that, quote, "One note on Hartenstein, I would still guess that Hartenstein returns to New York if he's deciding between the Knicks offer and an offer that's a bit higher." Begley says the Knicks have Hartenstein's early bird rights, so they can only offer him roughly $16 million in the first year of his new contract. It can be as long as 4 years and for as much as $72 million, end quote. This is actually what I was thinking previously, is that there's no way the Knicks are going to be able to offer Hartenstein more money than a team like OKC, for example. But the fit is the most important thing. The reason why Hartenstein came to the Knicks was because of the opportunity, right? And the Clippers didn't pay him as well. But Hartenstein, right now, you have a chance to be the starting center for a Knicks team that just won 50 games, that has the best, most loyal fans in the entire sport, really probably even in the entire country. I mean, New York Knicks fans, they absolutely pack arenas on the road, especially. It seems like a home games at times when we were in the playoffs. I mean, in Philadelphia, it was ridiculous how many Knicks fans showed up. Not that it's that far away, of course, going from New York to Philly, but Hartenstein as well is that he's coming off of a season where he played the best basketball of his career. I mean, Hartenstein, he went out there, he took advantage of Mitchell Robinson missing 50 games. He put up 9.1 rebounds, 8.6 points, 3.2 assists, 1.1 steals, and 1.2 blocks in 64 starts, including the playoffs this season. The one issue that I have with Hartenstein is going to be defensively. If we were to go up against, let's say, the Philadelphia 76ers again with Embiid and they add Paul George in, then that's just not a matchup that's going to be ideal. I mean, Embiid averaged about 32, 33 a game in the playoffs against us, which was the highest points per game in the playoffs in general. It was only a 6-game sample size, but that's my thing with Hartenstein. But I think outside of that, he just fits into our culture, our identity. He's got a great relationship with the coaching staff, the players. He rebounds. Offensively, he's a great passer. He doesn't clog the paint like a Mitch. I do want Hartenstein back as the starting center of the team, which is just crazy, because if you were to tell me that coming into the year, I would have been, oh, Mitchell Robinson's 100% the guy. But to this point, I just don't see the upside of Mitch. And we can move him and, let's say, get a first-round pick and some sort of player. If we can move a first and Mitch to go get a really good player. I mean, to this point, I don't really care what we do as long as we just do something, because we got to make sure that we bring back Hartenstein at all cost. And then after that, we're going to put our focus to OG Anunoby, of course. But really outside of that, just with Kuzma, I think he would fit our team perfectly, right? I don't expect the Knicks to trade for a star. There was a report that we are finally ready to go ahead and to make that move with these 8 tradable picks to go out there, of course, and to move Julius Randle, for example, and Bojan Bogdanovic we're expected to pick up, guarantee his contract. That would be the best case as picks in those two guys to go get a really good player, but I just don't see the Knicks doing that, man, because you have to understand who's available right now. No one's truly available. I mean, Zach LaVine's a guy that certainly would be a bad fit for our team with his injury concerns. He's not a good defender, and I mean, Zach LaVine's good, but he wouldn't fit what we're trying to do. Like, DeMar DeRozan, I think actually would be an amazing piece for us. He's a little bit older, but he could come off of our bench and be a true scorer. And DeJounte Murray's a guy that I personally would have wanted, but that was before Jalen Brunson proved that he's a superstar, a top 6 player in the world. So now we're looking at the point where it's like, okay, Devin Booker, Karl Anthony Towns, Giannis Antetokounmpo, anyone that isn't those guys, there's just no reason, right? We're not going to go out there and trade Julius Randle for Mikal Bridges. I mean, I don't think that would ever happen, but I don't think the Knicks would even do that to begin with. I think the Knicks actually have no interest in trading Randle at all, and the only reason they would is to get a superstar type of player. I mean, Devin Booker is a guy who averaged 27 a game last season. Karl Anthony Towns shot over 40% from 3 last season, as he's done pretty much his entire career. I think like every year of his career, he's maybe the best shooting big man ever. It's either him or Dirk. So, but to this point, the Knicks, they're just focused on improving their roster and winning a championship. If it were up to me, if I was a betting man, gambling man, I would bet that the Knicks do not make both of those picks. I just don't really see a world where the Knicks pick at 24 and 25. I think we're going to end up moving up. We're going to trade one of those, or maybe even I could see something crazy where the Knicks actually trade Mitch and get a first-round pick and some sort of player back. They could do that, and maybe at that point now you've got all these picks to work with. But if I'm the Knicks, I realize that, okay, we need to get a guy who can come in and can actually help us right now. He doesn't need to play 25 to 30 minutes, but we need someone who can come in and at least produce, whether that be as a shooter, as a guy who can rebound the basketball or defend or something. But I just don't think 2 rookies right now are what the Knicks need, because the rotation's tight as it is. I mean, you look at our depth chart, there's 8 or 9 guys that are going to be getting minutes, assuming everyone comes back. So the first one's Jalen Brunson, Dante DiVincenzo, OG Anunoby, Julius Randle, Isaiah Hartenstein. That's 5 starters. And then you've got McBride, you've got Josh Hart. That's 7. And Bojan Bogdanovic is 8. I believe we're going to end up guaranteeing his contract. And then to that point, we're talking about Jericho Sims. I don't think he's going to be playing. Precious Achiuwa is a guy who he's a restricted free agent. I mean, maybe he gets some minutes. Alec Burks is an unrestricted free agent. Shake Milton, I don't really think is going to be a part of a rotation. So we have at least 8 guys right now. 8 guys right now that are going to be playing minutes, which means that we have really, I would say, 2 spots. I don't 9-10-man rotation. I think 10-man rotation is probably where we want to be at in the regular season. I think the Knicks could even bump that up to 12 if they really wanted to. But the question is, you need guys that can go out there and can contribute right away, but also you have to understand that their development for the future is also going to be key, right? Like if we draft Ryan Dunn out of Virginia, he's a guy who defensively is going to get on the court. You can rebound, you can cut, but he's not going to be able to give us much offensively. So, but the Knicks also have to get him on the court to develop him. So I just want a player that is young with upside, but that can also help right away. And that would have me excited, because the Knicks, they actually have drafted well the past couple of years later on. We haven't drafted well, like, RJ Barrett didn't work out, obviously. I'm looking at a Frank Ntilikina, a Kevin Knox. Those types of guys didn't work out. But in terms of Quentin Grimes, we traded, but I like Quentin Grimes. But Quentin Grimes, Emmanuel Quickly, we ended up getting Miles McBride was a 2nd-round pick, but Mitchell Robinson was a 2nd-round pick, right? So we've been drafting well in late 1st and 2nd round. So I'm actually kind of excited. But